The time has come to start our session on the future of logistics. May I invite on the stage Mr. Pablo Hoya, Director Zaldesa, which is Salamanca Logistics Platform. And Mr. Pablo Hoya is also the President of Euro Platforms, European Association of Logistics Centers. It's my honor to invite Ms. Donya Young, Director, Peace City World Aviation and Logistics. It's also my honor to invite Mr. Stefan Reidy, CEO at Zippy, putting the Zip into supply chain management. Please take your seats. And I'm honored to announce that Mrs. Christelle Delenclos, Senior Director, Business Development, Special Projects, Logistics, Maersk, should be connected with us from the United States. Probably a little bit early for her, but thank you very much for making the effort to be present with us. So let's start with Mr. Pablo Hoya, if you would like to share with us your message.
Thank you.
Are you comfortable doing it from here? Or
fine.
Whatever, okay.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hear very
Stage is
good.
yours.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos días. Thank you very much for the invitation to this Congress. Thank you very much for all the guests that come to here. We had been talking about, we've been talking about future, pero y ahora cambio, I'm going to speak in Spanish or even in Spanish. Now we are going to talk about present. Vamos a hablar de presente. El futuro está muy bien, el futuro es de alguna manera por lo que todos estamos aquí, por la necesidad de crecer, pero creo que es importante resaltar que Salamanca ya tiene un bagaje logístico. Tiene un bagaje logístico y tiene una experiencia. Y creo que eso, más allá de todo lo que hemos hablado, de por la parte de cultura, de tradición, de historia, que es muy importante, creo que también es importante hablar de la parte logística de Salamanca. Y empezamos por el principio, y es ¿dónde está Salamanca? Y todos sabemos perfectamente que la ubicación dentro de la logística es esencial, es primordial. Y además eso no lo da digamos, un gobernante, ¿no? Eso estás donde estás, y o la tienes o no la tienes, ¿no? Es así de cruel, si me permitís. Y en ese sentido, pues Salamanca está ubicada dentro de lo que es el corredor atlántico. En el año 2013 la Unión Europea estableció 9 corredores principales. Estamos hablando no de corredores o de ubicaciones a nivel ni local, ni de Castilla y León, ni del Estado español, sino a nivel europeo. ¿Eso qué significa? Que ese reconocimiento viene más allá de posibles intereses más locales. Y en ese sentido es importante señalar que ese reconocimiento del 2013 vino de la Unión Europea y nos consideró nodo de la red global, y además tuvo en cuenta algo que hemos estado hablando anteriormente, y es la presencia del aeropuerto. Y en ese sentido, como podemos ver, está dentro de lo que denominamos el corredor atlántico y además en el eje norte-sur de la península ibérica. Eso lo tenemos por defecto, eso es así, ¿no? Con lo cual, ese valor añadido que tenemos, la tenemos que aprovechar. Y es lo que estamos haciendo. Más allá de todo el valor que tiene Salamanca, también tenemos que incentivar ese valor logístico. Además de la localización, sí que es cierto que ya se ha hecho una importante inversión en todo lo que es en materia de comunicaciones, en el sentido de que, por un lado, estamos conectados por autovía, por redes de alta capacidad, tanto con el norte como con el sur, con el este y con el oeste, es decir, que tenemos salida con carreteras de alta capacidad, si bien además, y ya pensando más en el futuro y pensando en la necesidad de transporte o de medios de transporte más sostenibles, hay una red ferroviaria que va desde los puertos portugueses, de los cuales hablaremos ahora, hacia el centro de Europa. Una red ferroviaria que además se encuentra prácticamente en su totalidad electrificada, falta una pequeña parte que se está desarrollando ahora mismo, con lo cual tenemos carreteras de alta capacidad y además tenemos una red ferroviaria, digamos, de alta calidad también. Todo eso, ¿qué nos proporciona? Pues una cercanía a los puertos de Portugal, a los puertos de Oporto, de Aveiro, de Lisboa, de Sines. Y bueno, aquí hay la representante de una naviera que seguro que hablará. We are going to talk about this, the port, the situation of the port probably later. We are talking about the situation of Salamanca in relation with the port of Aveiro and Leixões and the importance of this connection. La importancia de la conexión entre los puertos portugueses y un dry port y un puerto seco. Y en ese sentido, todos sabemos el problema que tienen los puertos. Los puertos están congestionados. El suelo del puerto es muy caro. Y el puerto lo que quiere es mover mercancías. El puerto no quiere almacenar, quiere mover. Y para mover tienen que sacar la mercancía rápidamente. Y ahí hay una oportunidad muy importante para Salamanca. Esa conexión con los puertos de Oporto, con el puerto de Aveiro, con el puerto de Lisboa, esa conexión además por ferrocarril permite que las mercancías que están en los puertos portugueses salgan rápidamente, lleguen a Salamanca y desde ahí se puede hacer o una distribución capilar, que podemos llegar hasta Madrid, o hacer un intercambio y de ahí subir para Europa, distribuirlo. Entonces, en ese sentido es muy importante la situación que tiene Salamanca con respecto a los puertos. Y esa relación, de hecho, hemos firmado acuerdos con los puertos de Aveiro, con el puerto de Leixões, para implementar y desarrollar esa relación entre los dos enclaves. Y luego, por último, pero no menos importante, es la cercanía con Madrid. Madrid es una de las poblaciones más importantes, de las ciudades más pobladas de Europa, además de tener todo lo que es la industria, y creo que estar cerca de Madrid es una oportunidad. Y es una oportunidad que debemos de aprovechar, porque gran parte, algunos de los problemas que además se han puesto de manifiesto en la presentación anterior, ¿no? Esa congestión, esa sobrepoblación de algunas ciudades, necesitan salir, tanto empresas como personas. Y esa necesidad de salir creo que es una oportunidad para Salamanca, ciudad además, pues como ya se ha dicho en muchas ocasiones, que permite vivir de una manera cómoda, bien, agradable, etc. Entonces, esto debe ser next. Una vez que ya tenemos la ubicación de Salamanca, ya sabemos la importancia que tiene, la ubicación estratégica, lo siguiente es ver todo lo que ya se ha hecho. Es decir, nosotros no partimos de cero a nivel logístico. Nosotros ya tenemos una experiencia y hay unos servicios que se vienen prestando desde hace más de 20 años. Y se empezó con un parking para camiones, que ahora mismo está homologado a nivel europeo. Posteriormente se estableció una aduana, importantísimo, tener una aduana dentro de lo que es el enclave, nos permite la salida, el despacho de mercancías de manera rápida. Y luego ha habido otro punto muy importante, es que nos hemos especializado en temas agroalimentarios. Actualmente Salamanca está ubicada en un lugar donde el tema agroalimentario es muy importante. Y además del tema agroalimentario, el siguiente paso que hemos dado ha sido la logística del frío. Ahora mismo hay una necesidad de logística de temperatura controlada y de temperatura negativa. Y ese servicio también lo estamos ofreciendo. Yo siempre digo, hay una diferencia sustancial entre un polígono industrial y una plataforma logística. Polígono industrial almacena y distribuye, una plataforma logística busca crear servicios. La infraestructura de una plataforma logística, su único objetivo es generar servicios para que las empresas quieran implantarse en esta zona por los servicios que se ofrecen. Y si perdemos esa perspectiva, creo que estamos equivocados. Servicios. Es incrementar los servicios que nosotros ofrecemos y a la vez ofrecer suelo. Las empresas necesitan dónde implantarse y ese ofrecimiento de suelo nosotros hemos tenido que rediseñar toda la estructura, toda la plataforma logística. Estábamos hablando de parcelas de 20.000 metros, 20.000 metros no es nada. Necesitamos 60.000, 70.000, 90.000, 100.000 y además hemos conseguido ser dinámicos, ser rápidos. Si nosotros tenemos un diseño de 30.000 y necesita 50.000, las cambiamos, modificamos. Y creo que eso es un valor también que que tenemos en esta plataforma logística. Por supuesto, esa experiencia nos lleva a que las naves que se construyan, evidentemente, están orientadas al sector de la logística y siempre desde esa perspectiva del servicio orientada al cliente, 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 servicio, cliente, ¿no? Creo que esa es una parte muy importante de lo que es la plataforma logística de Salamanca. Por supuesto, la ubicación que tiene, como podéis ver ahí, conectada con las carreteras de alta velocidad, conectadas también con el ferrocarril. Y en ese sentido también decir que el siguiente servicio que estamos desarrollando es la intermodalidad. Hemos comentado antes. ¿Sí? Sorry. So we are talking about estábamos hablando, excusa, del siguiente servicio, que es la plataforma intermodal. La importancia que tiene el tener una terminal ferroviaria dentro de la plataforma logística. Por lo que hemos comentado antes, por la necesidad que tienen los puertos de sacar las mercancías rápidamente. Y en ese sentido estamos en una fase de construcción que esperemos comience pues, en el mes de marzo o abril, no más tarde. Estamos hablando de una construcción de 18 meses, es decir, que a finales del próximo año este servicio estará en pleno funcionamiento. Tenemos, además, estamos colaborando, como os comentaba antes, con los puertos portugueses para su diseño, pero en cualquiera de los casos el diseño de la terminal cumple con los estándares que establece la Unión Europea, 750 metros de largo, con capacidad para movimiento tanto de contenedores como de graneles, de almacenamiento de graneles, importantísimo, carga general preparada también para el momento en el que las autopistas ferroviarias estén asentadas en España y en Europa, puedan unirse a esas autopistas ferroviarias, y en ese sentido creo que vamos a generar un servicio que le va a dar un valor muy importante a la plataforma logística de Salamanca. Insisto, de nuevo, servicios, 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 servicios. Y para mostrar que es una realidad, ahí podemos ver la parcela en la que se va a construir el puerto seco, el polígono industrial en el que se va a ubicar. También podemos observar que en Salamanca llueve, lógicamente, se ven ahí fue una época en la que hubo mucha lluvia, y lo que sí podemos decir es que la realidad ya está aquí, y me gustaría terminar esta presentación de la plataforma logística de Salamanca insistiendo tal cual comenzó, y es: la logística en Salamanca es una realidad, la plataforma logística de Salamanca es una realidad, la experiencia de Salamanca dentro de la logística es una realidad, y creo que con todas estas realidades es una gran oportunidad. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pablo Hoya. Thank you very much. Donya, may I invite you to share with us your view of the future of logistics according to Peace City World?
Thank you, Manu.
Thank you, Donya.
Thank you. I'll shake your hand anyway. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And I want to tell you, Salamanca has made such an impression on me and my colleague, Tim Getters. Coming all the way from Texas, living close to Mexico, we hear Spanish a lot, but it is different. It is very different. So when the professor the other day was saying that he would invite us to come and study, I'm going to sign up. But thank you so much, everybody. And I wanted to speak a little bit about aviation in Peace City World and our integrating our platforms into a safer and more effective, efficient logistic world. As you know, Salamanca is where the New World was launched. Christopher Columbus came here, and then he discovered the new world. And I think now we're on the precipice of all of us coming together to start another cycle of humans on this planet. And we're hoping that we can do this in a way that benefits mankind, takes care of our planet, makes us better stewards of what we have and have been given by our Creator. So we're going to start with our AirOps model. AirOps is my company in Texas. We are worldwide. We do logistics, aviation platforms, development, and we are very, let's go to the next slide, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I do that? Here. There we go. So our company overview, AirOps International has fixed rotor jet, drone, and development of new platforms for aviation. Our consultants are worldwide. We have engineers, inventors, developers, people with military background, civilian background. We all come together. We create a new model for FBOs and efficient transportation from point to point. Okay. So our mission for AirOps International is to establish diplomatic relationships with other countries and assess their needs, whether it's medical, transportation, logistics, and then we actually develop new and exciting ways for them to come together with their workforce. We train them, and then we employ them, and it grows their economic structure, and the FBO facilities become more resilient. Okay, next. I want to talk a little bit about our leadership. Excuse me. Our leadership with AirOps International. Of course, I'm CEO, and Tim Getters is my joint development partner. And what we do with the joint development is we all keep our own IP, but we come together and create something better, and then that goes forward. So we're launching this new thing, and I want to share a little bit more in detail later. Eric Southworth, I can't say, I'm sorry. Eric Southworth is our International Business Development Director. Burton Mason is our Director of Maintenance. And we have Gary Gott, who is our Director of Operations. We have, Kevin Caldwell is our Director of Flight Operations. John Giannossi, Helicopter and Rotor, and new electric vehicles is also under John Giannossi. And then Dr. Richard Cole is our Chief Technical Officer. Okay, AirOps International and Peace City World collaborating on our efforts here to scale up our aviation platforms. I would like to talk to you a little bit about this model. This is actually the crux of the matter. So during COVID pandemic, as Tim was saying, a third of all the aviation platforms were sidelined or even retired into what we call the airport graveyard because they were in their last leg of life. Well, that made a huge impact because manufacturing and all cannot keep up with the current need for transportation in the aviation sector. So Tim and I became very academic during that time because we weren't allowed to travel. So we weren't allowed to do the things that, of course, all of us were handicapped, and hamstrung, if you will. So what we did is we started studying, what would make airports resilient? What would make them immune from cyber attacks, EMP, human-made disasters? So we designed this model, and I want you to look at this very carefully. If you take the airport, which represented in the middle, and you put together all of this ecosystem around the airport, it creates a resilient model that can be duplicated worldwide. So with us, we're going to bring the secure data, which is very important for flight operations, drone flights, medical data, all needs to be secure, of course, because you can imagine the disaster if the airports are hacked. And as we have seen in this day and time, there are bad actors that unfortunately can wreak havoc on our systems. So we bring with us this waste to energy model, so we can actually take trash and make it to fuel. And it is municipal waste, organic waste. It doesn't have to be sorted. It's very contained. And we've worked very hard on the chemical engineering aspect where that material is made into diesel, so plastics to diesel, then diesel to JP8. So all of your cargo and aircraft that run off that sort of fuel is made on site, where if there's a disaster and you can't get the fuel to the airport or pump the fuel for the airport, we make it and it's right there and available. So we also have waste to energy here, and it is paired with the water reclamation. And the water reclamation at all airports, water has to be recycled anyway and filtered. So we've decided to utilize the surface structures and collect the water when a rainfall or dew point is high enough. And we have underground cistern systems that also will filter the water. And I know Ms. Deborah Walliser will be happy about this. Our model, it doesn't look like a regular airport. It's not just your traditional metal buildings in a row. We actually are very, very focused on the aesthetic of how it can blend into the community and the natural architecture of the facilities around it. And between the hangars, we actually have grow houses with the Quonset hut canopies and the vertical gardening between. So if you understand, AirOps also operates in OCONA situations and geographically challenging situations where we may not have food even to sustain our own crews. So we decided to put a green model in and grow houses between some of the hangars, and that way it's sustainable. So also we have the ability to have a tower in a box, which is very important, or a flight controller in a box, because many airports aren't large enough or are too remote to have a tower. So we have the capability of putting this technology out the back of a C-130, dropping it at an airport site. It sets up, has solar panels and the ability to collect solar energy and power 8 batteries on the inside. It has the capability of processing 127 different languages. So if other people are flying in a disaster or relief for natural disaster and readiness, we can accommodate them. The other part of the model we have that is very unusual for aviation is we put in a triage center at the airport site. And what that does is when there's a natural disaster, or even like COVID where the hospitals at some point were overrun, we can utilize the airport as a secondary hospital facility. And it can be staffed with remote telemetry. It can be staffed with remote medical devices like drone technology that can carry our medical equipment and central supply line to other outlying regions. We have staff, of course, in AirOps International and Peace City World that are all medically oriented, flight doctors, engineers, and medical staff that can also be summoned for flight for helicopter EMS. And we're hoping, of course, in the future that some of our electrified vehicles and drone technology will be more advanced, that we can actually take people remotely and bring them to the hospital centers or to the airport centers for treatment very quickly. What am I missing? So also the secure data pods, let's go back to that for just a second. Just recently in the US, we had a malfunction in an ejection seat. So, you know, these systems are there to design and preserve life. But when there are points of failure, we have to evaluate those things very carefully and make sure that we can accommodate that and correct that quickly. We're finding that many of the microbe chips that are in our aviation sector are compromised, and that is a very unfortunate and dangerous situation. So one of the things that we have decided to do is to put manufacturing into our airport facilities. That way we can create new resilient microchips and replace the ones that are corrupted or malfunctioning. And we are going to have a very extensive quality control system that does that evaluation and development team that can put those in place. So let's go to the next slide. So this is some of our crew in other parts of the world. We have worked in Africa, taking water, taking critical supplies, teaching, training, both civilian and military sectors. We have an amazing crew, and they work very hard at what they do. I'm very proud of them. Anytime I offer them to go anywhere remote, they sign up immediately. They love it. Some of the areas also that we can reach, the drone technology has come a long way. So we've been working with a company out of Germany that tests their products in the United States, and I've had the privilege of working with their engineers. And one of the interesting platforms is a drone development platform that works very similar to the helicopter, but it works on pedestals. So you can have a 200-mile range with a 35 to 40-pound payload. And so we can take these and pre-position them and then fly the drone from the central supply FBO out to the outlying regions. And it's a teach coordinate and secure platform where you just push a code in, it drops the package, the receiver gets the package, the drone flies away to the next stop. And it's a brilliant method. We've tested it out, and I'm very happy to say that we're ready to launch that also. So some of our other capabilities for our aviation platforms is a lot of times we're looking for new materials to create better runways, and we found something that we're very excited about. If you're in a remote situation, you don't have electricity, or there aren't any infrastructure available, or you're under construction, some of the materials that we've found also can be utilized to create the runway stripes and markings that actually collect the energy from the sun in the day, and at night it fluoresces, so you don't even have to have electricity in some of these regions, which is really exciting. To finish up here, what else that we do for Air Ops International and for Peace City World Aviation is our directors have come together and have tried to be forward-thinking about all the things that we can do to create a better, more resilient aviation platform. All of our directors and engineers and developers come together in the United States, launching new and exciting programs to support medical infrastructure, FBO facilities, maintenance, retrofit, and overhaul. And then we create these relationships and try to bolster, foster, and implement all of these things for the better future for all of us. Okay, so I have two other things I want to do. This is just basically an overview of what I've just said. If you want to take a snap of that, that's fine. Logistics. It's the most complicated aspect of my world and your world. There are professionals that make this seem to be very, very simple, but it is not, I can assure you. When you're taking your transportation from trucking, rail systems, warehousing, and of course, aviation and cargo transport and aircraft, it has to be coordinated on a second-to-second basis. And as some of you came here, I know Deborah was struggling with getting transportation from the airport here. It took her hours because there was a failure in the car, that we had car trouble. And if one thing breaks down, it's the proverbial train wreck, right? So we're hoping in the future with the automation, robotics, and the things that we can bring forward, especially in the warehousing areas, that maybe you say, oh, well, that makes people lose their jobs. Well, not really, because you train them into the new technologies, into working and equipping these things and maintaining these equipments to make everything more efficient. Okay, this is just an example of the aviation activity over the area that we're sitting now. And look at the number of aircraft in the air. It's staggering, staggering. And I just wanted, and there was supposed to be music to this, but apparently not. There was a video, and this was supposed to be live. But anyway, this just gives you an example of how complex this world is. And in Peace City World Aviation, we're hoping that we can address these situations and make them more sustainable and resilient for our future. One of the things that I wanted to talk about real quick after this slide is our airport model is critical because If you can imagine creating a string of resilient airports across the world, all the Peace City worlds connected, if those airports are resilient, hardened, and insulated, then the supply chain is resilient, hardened, and insulated. And that is my hope for our future, that we can make that happen and bring all of this together, and it launching right here in Salamanca. So thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Donya. Mr. Stefan Reidy, CEO of Zippy, putting the zip into the supply chain management. Looks great.
You mean I look great, or this?
Oh, you look great too.
Thank you. Oh, that's a compliment. You made my day today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning. As you have heard, my name is Stefan Reidy, and we're going to talk in the next 15 minutes, we're going to talk about reimagining the supply chain. As you probably hear from my accent, I'm from Switzerland. And I thought, well, what could I best bring to you than Swiss chocolates? So where's Paul, my partner? I liked Paul to hand out some of these Swiss chocolates to you guys. And don't worry, here on the panel, I've reserved some for you as well. So I give you...
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. But before you start eating now, this is not going for free. Never you get anything for free. I'd like you to be part of a short use case together with me. I'd like you to be, all of you, I'd like you to be the CEO of this chocolate company here. And I'm your supply chain manager. So your mission is now to bring these tender, sweet, lovely Swiss chocolates to the market. We bring joy, we bring happiness to all the people out there in the world, in the cities. So we bring actually peace to the cities through Swiss chocolates. So you task me, you as CEO, you task me as a supply chain manager to make sure now that we, without problems, can deliver these chocolates to the market. And not only that, you asked me as your supply chain manager also to keep the promises to my internal peers, the warehousing manager, the production manager, the CFO, etc. Because you want me to make sure that the production can always run without problems. You want to make sure that the warehousing costs are as low as possible. So I have to give some promises to you as a CEO. I have to give some promises to the customers out there who want to eat these small chocolates. And I have to give some promises to the internal peer managers. And now, what's happening? Any of you recognize this picture? Brexit. Kilometers of traffic jam, backlog of cargo. And not only that, we're trying to deliver these chocolates to the market, and this happens as well. Oh my God, what are we going to do now? Where is our cargo? If I tell you that 90% of companies do not have any visibility in their supply chain, 90% of companies do not have any visibility in their supply chain, how are they supposed to manage the delivery of these chocolates to the market? I help you a little bit. I tell you now that, where is it? This truck there has a load of chocolates. And this container there has a load of cacao beans. So, what are we doing now? This truck there, maybe the truck driver has to wait 2-3 days in this traffic jam. He's turning off the engine. The cooling unit turns off. Chocolates start to melt. How can we ensure that we now deliver this to our clients out there on time and in perfect quality? We have no clue. We simply have any clue. How can we ensure that the cacao beans there on this vessel are still in contact? They're exposed, as you see there, to temperature and humidity variations during the day, up and down, up and down. Condensation is happening. Cargo is spoiled. Cacao beans are exposed to mold and they're spoiled. Now we have just two. I mean, it's very simple here, our use case, where you are the CEO and I'm the supply chain manager. It's a very simple use case. But now we already have two issues here. We cannot deliver the quality with the chocolates to the market, and we have a problem with cacao beans because they cannot be delivered to the production site on time in best quality. And guess what? This food spoilage or food waste is not the only one. Food waste is a big issue, as you see here. 2.1 billion tons are estimated to be wasted every year, with a value of 1.5 trillion US dollar. And 40% of that, 40% is happening while cargo is in transit. So, what do we do? You're the CEO. You're responsible to have a very productive company here, chocolate company, and I'm your supply chain manager. What do? We have to deliver peace to the cities out there with the chocolates, make people happy, joyful. What do we do? So let's assume we're sitting together now, we're doing some brainstorming, productive brainstorming, and we come up with a solution that we say, because we don't have visibility, we have to get to visibility. So let's put an IoT sensor on every single pallet, on every single bag, on every single truck, on every single container, on every single trail. We put these little sensors out there so we can collect data in real time. We collect data about temperature, about humidity, about shock, about position, about whatever we want. We put these sensors out there in millions so we can collect data in real time and have a real reality check. What's going on out there? The picture could look like this. So now we have real-time information about temperature, about humidity, and we like it. I get an extra bonus because I came up with a good solution and you as a CEO are happy. We're looking at this, but after a while, so what? What do we get out of all this data? Nothing. It doesn't help us. So again, we're sitting together and we think about what could be done next. Well, maybe we should make some sense out of the data so that we can learn from it. So what we do is we go out there in the market, and there are very smart people and very smart companies out there, and we task one of them to develop an algorithm for us to analyze the data and temperature that is coming in combination with cacao beans to detect mold. So now, we not only have the temperature and the humidity of that cargo, but we also get information about mold is happening. There is a likelihood to have mold. Mold happened now, an alert goes out, and you receive that alert. Wow. Now we suddenly know in Salamanca, mold is happening today with a container load full of cacao beans. We like that. But after a while, so what? What are we doing now? Who is looking at all these emails, alerts, etc.? Now mold is happening. And does it help us? Can we deliver chocolates in the promised quality to the market? No. We need some kind of decisions behind that. Decisions. That's a key word. So we need not only more data, we not only need more analytics, we also need more decision support. So let's assume now that we have all the data that we needed. We have data from the temperature, humidity, from the containers, from the trucks, the truck driver, weather data, everything that we need. We have all the data now. And assume that we have hired some of the smartest companies out there developing application to detect, for example, mold. So now we have the data, we know mold is happening, but now we need decision support. So as soon as mold is happening, we don't have to touch anything because all the information is immediately transferred to an auction platform. They also exist out there. They're selling auction platform for damaged cargo. They take all the information. They know 20 tons of cacao beans spoiled because of mold, 70% affected, 30% still fine, all that kind of information they receive. And they sell it immediately. I don't have to touch anything. You as CEO, you don't have to touch anything. And not only that, because they sell it, I get the money paid, and it's immediately handed over to my insurance company who is doing the claims handling the rest, and I get paid out the rest. Done. Wow, cool, I don't have to touch anything. But that's not all, because as soon as I detect mold, I'm going to reorder a new container with cacao beans, because again, to my peer, the production manager, I promised that he can always produce the chocolates. So I reorder a new container with cacao beans, which is going to be delivered on time, but we have a problem with our financing manager because at the moment he's short in cash, and we give all the information also to these decentralized financing companies out there who are willing, based on the risk profile that we give to them, based on the data we have, I know it's a little bit a lot, they also finance the cargo for us. And we are just sitting there watching and say, yes, no, exactly, that's fine. That's how future supply chains should work. So the conclusion is, there are a lot of companies out there. There are a lot of companies out there who provide data. There are a lot of companies out there who have applications. There are a lot of companies out there who have services, etc., etc., etc. They're all in their very specific area. They're world champions in their specific area. The thing that we have to do is we need collaboration. We need these workflows where we can bring people together and seamlessly work together. You're released now as a CEO, because now I'm talking as CPIM, so how do we do that? We do that through a multi-sided open platform. We build a platform where everybody can join through standardized interfaces. I know you cannot read that, but these blocks there around are standardized interfaces. So anybody can come in, anybody can join. That's very important. Everybody is in control of their own data. Everybody is in control of their own applications. We have like a marketplace. That's the top box that you see there. We have a marketplace where data and applications can be shared among each other. Who needs temperature? Buys temperature from somebody who has temperature data. Who needs mold detection? Can have an application that can detect mold. Who needs an auction platform? Can get in an auction platform to develop these workflows. That's another one, automated, intelligent workflows. That's what we are providing. We're giving the technology to the companies out there so that they can build automated, intelligent workflows in the way they need it for their business. And guess what? But that's a future step. Once you have all the data, you develop these workflows, you can also create metadata out of it. And based on that, have business intelligence and artificial intelligence, of course. So, as World City says here, Peace City World, sorry, collaborative platforms, we're saying we need a community of specialists, data, application, services, etc., coming together, share their specialty, and make sure in the combination we can leverage that. Now, we started with the chocolate, and we started talking about quality, very narrow look we had so far. Quality in the food business. But there are many more issues out there. There are issues about theft. There are issues about visibility. There are issues about financing. There are issues about sustainability. All these challenges have to be addressed as well. I summarize them under quality, integrity, finance, transportation, and sustainability. These issues have to be addressed in a global supply chain. And when we are talking about risk, last week there was the World Economic Forum, and they have published their risk landscape. Guess what? There is a big one about the erosion of social cohesion. There is another one about state collapse. And the third one is supply chain. If the supply chain doesn't work, then we don't have peace. We don't have peace in the world, and we don't have peace in the cities. So supply chain is one of the top topics that we have to address. And again, not just food. There are many more industries who need this kind of open platform where we jointly collaborate. They need it as well. So, to summarize, I think we have all realized there is a crisis, or if we want to say it a little bit simpler, there are many challenges out there. The technology has improved. There are technologies available who help us address these challenges. We need the new ideas. We need to collaborate. We need a community in the industry to work together. And City World, with its initiative, is a driver for that, helping to solve that. We, from CPIM, have a platform, a technology that helps to address this. So why don't we start? I thank you, and I hope you enjoy your chocolate, and I'm looking forward to questions now or later, I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. I think there's a question in the room, right?
This is for Stefan. I'm here. Hey, Stefan. Okay, I guess at the moment there's a lot of hesitancy around companies sharing data. So I'm just wondering what measures, if any, you have in place for this.
Thank you.
And also, maybe I can ask you another question at the same time and you can cover both off. You mentioned AI and predictions, and I'm sure you wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that. So I'm wondering if you could maybe just elaborate and explain how some of these systems work.
Thank you for these questions. Yeah, look, I've been in this business now for whatever, 20, 30 years. I'm not telling you how old I am, but I've seen many companies from Maersk, IBM, Deutsche Telekom, I don't know, Lockheed Martin, they all wanted to build these big platforms with a one big central database where every party adds their data in, and then you can do smart things out of it. And never ever it happened, because everybody realizes data is kind of the new gold, and I'm very careful in sharing my confidential data with anybody else. And when I said before in the synopsis that technology has changed, there are now technologies available. I'm not talking about blockchain, but there is encryption technology available nowadays where you basically can encrypt the data that you're sending to me. I don't even see, for example, the temperature and humidity measurements. I don't know what you're sending me. But I have, as another company, I have the mold algorithm. So I receive the data from you, it's confidential, it's your data. You're allowing that data to get to me just for the next 2 hours or for this specific project or whatever. I do the analysis and I see the result. I see mold is happening. I don't see the data, I don't own it, I don't get it, I just do my algorithms, I get the result out of it and the rest is yours. So this new way of sharing data, making sure that you are in control of it, that you can keep it, but I can still do my business. You can earn money by sharing or selling data. I can earn money by offering an application that can detect mold, allows now both of us to start doing business without sharing it in a one big central database. And I think that's one of the changes now based on this technology that allows such model to raise. Now, just quickly on artificial intelligence. Now, think about, I mentioned that here, I have to reorder cacao beans. If I had all the information available that I'm talking about, and I knew that, for example, it was not really raining in Colombia, so no cacao beans are available now in the next 4 weeks, but there is cacao beans available in, I don't know, Vietnam, for example. And because I know based on all the information that I have, if you start in Vietnam today, in the second week or third week of January, that more humidity is there, and therefore you should add more desiccant bags. That's these bags, chemical that take the humidity out of a container or out of the air. So I can give you, while you know that you have to reorder cacao beans, I can give you an advice and say, look, there's no cacao beans available in the next 2 weeks in Colombia. Go to Vietnam, and I recommend you, because you don't want to have mold happening, I recommend you to add 30 kilograms of desiccant bags in it. So again, I give you advice. It's device support. I give you a device based on artificial intelligence. That's just one simple example, but that's the way how we plan to do that. I hope that answered the question.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Is Miss Christelle Delenclos connected with us? I guess yes.
Yes, I am.
Hey, Christelle. Nice to hear from you.
Hi, Renier. Hi, everyone.
Sorry we made you wake up early and we made you wait for us. Thank you for your
Yeah, it's
understanding.
5:30 in the morning. It's okay. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
And especially hearing about what Stefan has to say. If you're using Maersk, I think your cocoa beans are not going to be wasted. So we can talk about that in more details. Do you see the presentation, or is it on the screen?
It is on the screen. Yeah, it is on the screen. Just put it in full screen.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure
And the mic
everyone
is
has
yours.
it.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone, I'm Christelle Delenclos. I'm the lead of the Aid and Relief Department under the Maersk Project Logistics in Maersk. And today I've been asked to talk about the future of transport and logistics, which from the past two speakers I've heard, there's definitely a lot of common ground. So I'll be happy to develop that a little bit further. We're going to talk about a number of different things. First, I'm not going to assume everyone knows Maersk, but I probably believe that everyone has seen the blue star somewhere in their country. We're going to talk about future trends, different key areas of disruption and possible future scenarios. We're going to talk about the roadmap to net zero by 2040, which I think is super important when we talk about peace cities. Green fuel investment, sustainability, collaboration and partnership. I like what you said, Stefan, about the partnership and how this is going to be absolutely key in the future of transport and logistics as well. Emission dashboard, we're going to talk about that, and I took just a very short business case about the Maersk Eco Delivery and how this would absolutely fit the model that PCD World is developing. On the very large scope, just to give you a picture of what Maersk represents, basically every 6 minutes we have a port call somewhere in the world. We have over close to 70 terminals across 42 countries. The number of terminals and intermodal containers that are being handled across the world is quite significant. 4.5 million today. I think we're actually going to break that much higher this year again. Those are 2021 numbers. And we have a very large fleet of container vessel deployed. So as you can imagine, the responsibility of Maersk in moving the world is substantial, and we take that very seriously when it comes to our journey to sustainability as well. Connecting, supplying global and simplifying global supply chains. I have heard a lot of things that Stefan, again, you mentioned. I think there's a lot of really good points in what you're saying. I don't think that logistics is so complex as it was meant to be described. I think it's all about understanding how an end-to-end offering and products and services actually work for the customer. And if you understand what the ultimate need is, I actually think that we can take the complexity out of global supply chains. Everything changed with COVID, and we're continuously focusing on developing our capabilities to deliver integrated solution to our customer. We're talking solution design, where we need a lot of expertise, obviously, project management, transportation services. It's really about connecting all the global suppliers and converging to specific destination according to what the customer needs are. So if it's chocolate, let's be it chocolate and work through the entire supply chain. On the side note, just as a small story, I worked a lot with one of the largest supplier here in the US called Atlantic Cocoa, and we redesigned entirely their cocoa chain from West Africa, especially Côte d'Ivoire and West Africa, Ghana, and that was extremely successful. The efficiency and the reduction of waste that we ended up doing and saving about 16 hours of work every week was absolutely tremendous and helped, improving the efficiency of such global supply chain. And with that, of course, I'm not mentioning all the work that was done on child labor and all these things, making sure the crop was done in the right regulated farms, etc. So it was really interesting. So happy to discuss that on the side, Stefan, if you have a chance. Our product portfolio, I'm not going to go and do a big Maersk advertising here, but it's quite substantial. We go from air, cold chain logistics, contract logistics. Of course, we are known for our ocean capabilities, but Maersk has really taken the choice to really come up with end-to-end solution and digitally enabled product that allow to have a lot more flexibility in our customer supply chain. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time. I know the time is counted, but just giving you an overall idea of all the things that we can do. On a more general note, I think a lot of you will applaud probably the first news of 2023, as I see it anyway, is the freight rate. Freight rate will fall to previous COVID levels, and I think everybody is probably going to be happy about that. There's definitely we're seeing that already, and there's definitely going to be a massive change compared to the past 2-3 years that the carriers have been on. Multi-channel logistics, I think, is probably the most important. Customer requires this flexibility, this agility to be able to get their product in the right timing, in good condition, etc. So agility, speed, resilience is going to be absolutely key, and that's the reason why we have to consider absolutely old mode of transport. When something goes wrong, we need to have a backup plan no matter what. Green logistics, being in aid and relief, as you can imagine, is absolutely crucial to me. One of the reasons is displacement of people, all these things, the impact on the environment. We have to take our responsibility, and it is driven by the customer demand as well as new regulation within the industry. The networking and automation trend will support that, will support the green logistic demand. To us, we'll go in more details, but that's one of the key area of focus for the group. I'm going to put all together, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I think Stefan again touched upon a number of crucial explanation mark, I would say, on when it comes to data. So digitalization, when it comes to making warehouse anticipation, simulation, robotics, automation, artificial intelligence is going to take a much bigger place. Cloud and blockchain, that's where maybe there's a little bit of not disagreement, but there are some divergence of opinion here. I actually think that the blockchain technology is probably one of the safest, and the way the data privacy is working at Maersk, we can give you a lot of information, but this is extremely regulated. There are really strong process in place, and blockchain technology, what we've done with TradeLens, for example, even though we're pulling out of TradeLens, or not because it was not working, but specifically because a lot of people in the industry were not able to understand, I think, the networking and how everything would work through those cloud applications. So data mining is another thing where, and again, this was touched upon, the aim to have data exchange in real time and making sure we have less less error, whether it's billing, whether it's being able to respond faster to your insurance if there is a need for that. We need more standardization among carriers, and Maersk is leading that change as well. So basically, a one-stop shop offering end-to-end integrated supply chain solution is going to be one of the major trends in logistics, and I think we're going to see that at various levels. On the ocean, just to give you a very high-level picture, I know Donya had given you some expertise as well on the aviation, which will come and probably confirm what she was mentioning. But on the ocean update, the container volume will continue to drop, and that's one of the very real facts. COVID was a kind of a panic moment. Everyone realized that their supply chain were not solid enough to anticipate such crisis. Today, people have worked extremely hard on getting this fixed. It's not completely. There's still a very high level of disruption among supply chain for sure, but we will see those container volume dropping because customers are going to be smarter about where they're pulling their cargo from, where the suppliers are located. Project cargo, however, like PCD World will most likely generate, are expected to be high with construction, power generation. Obviously, the conflict in Ukraine is also driving that. We're seeing a lot of order books from our major construction customer full, absolutely full. We're working really hard, and I say we, not just Maersk, but the whole ocean industry, on getting port congestion to decrease. This has led to so many fees and everything. We're very conscious of that, and authorities and carriers are working, and port authorities, of course, are working really hard on helping making it a little bit smoother. There will be a decrease for the demand of multi-purpose new build, and there will be, I don't know if some of you have been flying over Singapore recently. I have. I just come back from South Pacific, and when you fly over Singapore and you see all those idle ships, it's quite in the bay. It's quite impressive. The excess fleet is expected to be maintained in container ship. We also are very heavily involved in air freight. We have our own aircraft as well. While I think the air cargo volume is gonna decrease slightly. It's gonna be soft, but still, compared to obviously the COVID period or what happened during that period, the capacity between Asia and Europe is going to continue to recover from that period. Obviously, Russia-Ukraine conflict is also driving a little bit more a change in the way we deliver cargo, and certainly air freight has been a priority. There's a combination of shifting manufacturing supply chains and bottlenecks at airports that leads the customers to also to hire middlemen, I would say, to hire their own aircraft and seek alternative gateways, getting operation in place that actually boost business at smaller regional sites, which I think is extremely positive for PCD World as well. We're going to see that happening more and more. The demand for new planes will continue, of course, because sustainable aviation fuel is being worked on. There's a lot of demand for that, and that's part of our reflection as well within the group of how we can make our journey on the air freight as well. Landside, very important, and I think a few examples were given with the truck shortages. There is definitely a driver shortage for any landside across the world, I would say. Obviously, in the US, we suffered from that, but now we see it very, very strongly, both in China, but also Europe. Customers are asking for more autonomous fleet. They are asking for electric trucks, which obviously will require electrical infrastructure. And there will be also continued investment in biofuel for truck, rail, and barge system, which whenever we can develop that is super important. On the warehousing, Maersk is extremely strong with, we have a number of warehousing developments across the world, not just in America, but in Africa, in Asia, in Europe. The warehousing in Asia that were very slow because of, again, COVID, are now operating normally. We're seeing more needs for further automation, again, based on digital twin simulation. The flexibility is extremely important for the customers, whether it's long-term, short-term, big space, a small pace, small pace, space, sorry. It really is based on their needs, and they want that flexibility. Robotics, we mentioned that, we touched upon that a little bit, but also cold chain solutions are going to be extremely important for pharma industry. Certainly PC World has ambitions with their medical centers, if I can call it that way. And I think those are going to be absolutely key to look into. And of course, green logistics at warehousing and distribution level is obviously preferred by most of our customers. The four areas, key areas of disruption that I see and possible future scenario, and again, we're touching upon a few items that have already been discussed, which is very reassuring in some ways. First of all, the customer expectation. It's super interesting to see how their demand has changed. Has changed in some ways. Now they're ready to actually look at getting out of their comfort zone, things that they were not used to do. So now they're more inclined to listen to expertise. They still expect to get goods faster with more option and of course lower cost. But I think the agility is now not only an emergency response to a natural disaster or something, it's actually a requirement at all level. It's very interesting to see how Maersk has strengthening the flexibility muscle. We've seen that at so many different levels in the past 2 years, especially. Technology, absolutely key. We must make intelligent use of it. I call it, transparency, safety, efficiency of supply chain. We're working really hard on that. The data analytics, that's, again, Stefan, I'm sorry, I'm putting your name a lot on that, but I thought you had an interesting development on those things. I agree. It has to improve the customer experience, not just be pretty. Whatever you're putting into a system is your responsibility for, making the better decision, greater inventory visibility, predictability, etc. So blockchain, I mentioned that. Robotic automation, I mentioned that as well. In a way, don't forget that logistics in general is a very competitive environment. We're seeing different scenarios where customers are now starting their own logistic operations. It doesn't mean that they're pushing away the main stakeholders or existing stakeholders. It's just that they want to be a little bit more in control of their own logistics. And therefore, that's my last point. And again, going back to a few comments that were made, the collaboration will be completely redefined in the next few years. Sharing amongst customer and their supplier or partner is going to become commonplace. It's going to create new standards. And I think the communication around that and the way we collaborate is going to be absolutely key. Future potential scenarios, very high level again. The scale of development is going to be one of those subject matters that we're going to see in the next few years. We've already seen that with what COVID generated, the need to not market dominance, but making more acquisitions, more mergers, trying to go through new innovation, and by that, it's going to make them bigger and lesser, smaller business when it comes to logistics, of course. The visibility, this is really going to be an increasing demand, fit for purpose data, the tools to support the supply chain optimization at every level, whether it's chocolate or construction material, making sure that whatever happens has also a plan B, so you have that visibility so you can anticipate your next move and not being caught off guard. I like the startup shakeup thing because I think there will be room for new entrants into the transport and logistics, and I think they will revamp the current setup of the way we work, and that refers to new collaboration design, new strategic partnership. That's my next point. Strategic partners. You cannot have project like PC World without having the right partner by your side to be successful. You cannot move along, and that's true in life, but that's true in business. Strategic partners amongst the current leaders to drive innovation, increase efficiency, and of course, keeping in mind all that we have our heart for our planet, reducing the environment impact of all our actions. Sustainability is obviously one of the direct results of that. Thought leadership, I think it's very important that we constantly evaluate our offering and constantly look at how we can do better with the various options we have. And we'll go into that in a minute. Our roadmap to reduce carbon emission is quite ambitious. At Maersk, we have actually moved it by 10 years. This is our commitment to the world, and Maersk takes it extremely seriously. We're driving a number of very important group at World Forum, etc. And there's definitely a lot of action and a lot of investment. The ship that you saw on the first slide are actually new generation built, and they have been built without having the fuel. We're creating the demand. Maersk is that committed that we are actually building ships that cannot be on the ocean until we have the right fuel. So those are the things that we're looking into. New partnership again on the biodiesel, sorry for my pronunciation, green methanol, green ammonia. We're looking at different possibilities across the supply chain. And again, for those who are interested in our journey towards sustainability, I'm happy to give you way more details. But again, in the interest of time, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Sustainability, collaboration, and partnership. Having the right partners will leverage the expertise across the board to sustain the ambition in sustainability for logistics. I think it's absolutely key that we understand that there are people that are experts in their own domain, and the ability to provide access to clean cargo, being able to lead sustainability initiative in logistics, whether by funds, whether by supporting each other, discussion, all these things, and the things that we do today actually to bring awareness is absolutely essential. Visibility, you've heard this word, probably my key word throughout this presentation, is very important. CO2 data emission dashboard is one of Maersk increased demand product amongst our customers, and we're talking retailers, we're talking FMCG, we're talking all sorts of industry across the board. Everyone wants to see their footprint, and of course innovative solution on how to lower our carbon emission, and also the Maersk Eco Delivery, that product. Just to touch really quickly on the Maersk emission dashboard, we consolidate all the emission data across all carriers and transport mode. So you have this dashboard that gives you the full emission data of the movement across your supply chain. It's obviously compliant. It's being addressed with some of the larger entity and like PricewaterhouseCoopers is actually the one that will guarantee the rigorous data quality checks. We have a number of different partners along that chain that will make sure that this reporting is actually true, and also that the optimization is set up as well. On the Maersk Eco Delivery, which is what I think is going to be absolutely key in talking when we're going to advance the project with Peace City, is how are we going to be able to work with decarbonizing shipping, and how our partners are going to be committed to do the same. We've had different cases with, I took H&M, but I could have put Inditex, or I could have put any other industry where we had customer willing to pay a little bit more to make sure that they are actively participating to low carbon emissions. So I think those are the things that we're seeing that didn't happen before. And it's really not only building positive branding through their sustainability leadership, but it's also a way to say, right, our ESG is that strong that these are the action items we're doing, and we believe in it, and we believe in it so much that we're ready to pay a little bit more to have the right fuel, to have, everything that is needed for us to reach that very ambitious goal by 2030. And if you need more information about how this low carbon solution has been put in place based on sustainable fuel, how we work, with our different partners to make sure it's certified, to make sure that there is a record keeping. Again, we're talking about data, all this, and how this is externally audited. Like I mentioned, PwC, but as you see, Clean Cargo is also part of it. Happy to give anyone more details, or do a showcase with our emission dashboard and eco delivery solution. And with that, I think there was a lot of information. So I'm happy to answer any question anyone has, and happy to develop that further, of course.
Thank you very much, Christelle. Do we have any questions in the room? Or among the panelists? Yeah, Felix.
Thanks for the conference and for everything. I have a question. What in your projections in 2030 and 2040, what percentage of the fleet will be eco-friendly, and with what technology you envision?
It's a good question. Our intention is to reduce our general fleet emission by 50%. It's huge. So I wouldn't be able to tell you about the number of ships, because we're also replacing some of those. What we're trying to do right now, because we anticipated the market, we need to have partners that start looking at how we're going to develop biofuels. But to encourage that, we put an investment, a very hefty investment, in new generation ships that don't exist today. But they will be built in, I think, in about 4 years now. And we have very little time, actually, to develop enough stock of those fuels to run those ships. But I can certainly share more detailed information if you're interested on the fleet in particular. But 50% is the goal.
Any other question? Stefan, Donya, Pablo? Yeah, without any more questions, I thank you very much, dear panelists, for your contributions. And we are going to move to the next step before the break. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now the time has come for us to, as announced, celebrate the signature of few MOUs. Let me invite on stage Mr. John Mavrak and Mr. Dr. Riyad Tukebri. And we are going to start with the MOU between Peace City World and Lale Al Baraka Trading Group. So, Mr. Salah Batalji, you are most welcome on stage.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free.
As God has shown us by turning stone to bread. And so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the
Mr. Salah, you wanted to say a few words.
Make a brighter day, so let's start giving.
Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day.
بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أنا كنت حقيقة أتمنى أن أتكلم بالعربي لكن عشان ما في ترجمة أتكلم بالإنجليزي. دائما إحنا كلامنا ارتجالي عشان من القلب للقلب. We'll speak in English. I was preferring to make it Arabic because I want to speak from my heart to your heart. What comes from heart, it goes to your heart. But I will speak in English. Maybe you'll understand, inshallah. Actually, we're proud to be in here. This is the future. And this is what we are doing and claiming to everybody to call them to do this, the future project. We are really international group. We're available in about 12 countries: Singapore, Dubai, Sri Lanka, Georgia, Thailand, Korea, South Africa, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, India, Pakistan, and near future Azerbaijan, Egypt, and Estonia. What is the concept of the investment? The investment people think that, okay, we'll put the money, and by the end of the day, I'll get profit. This is an old style of investment. Investment now is development. Develop the country, develop mentality, and develop the lifestyle of the people of the country. This is now the real investment. What we do, really, we'll try to make all our projects as a government project. Even if it's private, but we involve the project, the government to be in there. Why? Because after we're done, before we're done, from the first day, we're going to give the government some profit. Why we give the government some profit? We give them for felicitation. We give them to support our project. How? Like if we do engineering, building, housing, we'll talk to the project, the country, okay, we'll have some share for you just to upgrade the salary, upgrade the lifestyle of these people, and then they will pay for us.
Thank you.
Right? Now, anyhow, we have مستعجل؟
إيه.
طيب بس دقيقتين. طيب معلش. Now our vision is to increase the profit, to make it more profitable, to see the opportunities. This is our vision, and this is the future. Future is to look in everything and make it more bigger. That's why we want to go with each country to be more bigger than it is on. Hello, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Shukran.
Thank you, Mr. Salah Batanji. The next MOU is between Peace City World and WTE. تفضل.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change.
Probably you can kindly suggest to those who...
We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares and their lives will be stronger and free.
As God has shown us by turning stone to bread.
Congratulations, WTE and Peace City World. The next MOU is going to be between Peace City World and Lafarge Emirates Cement.
We are the one to make a brighter day, so let's start giving. Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
Should we move to the next?
Down and out,
Yeah. The next MOU is with Singularity Group. Mr. Mark David Hintz. Do we see Mark Hintz in the room? Sorry? Oh, yeah, please. Is Mr. Ivan Kokeza with us? Great. So the next MOU is with Kokeza Consulting.
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me.
For your knowledge, coffee is already served at the coffee break.
Start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a brighter day. Just you and me. Come on now, let me hear you.
We are the world.
We are the world.
We are the children.
We are the children.
We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
So let's start giving.
Is Mrs. Bertie Sandra Isabel Poole in the room? Just preparing for the next.
We make a better day. Just you and me. Yeah.
Please get ready for the next MOU. Oh, she's not here?
So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. Yeah, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and me.
واحد بركة.
We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. Yes, sir. We are the ones that make a better day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making.
Congratulations.
We're saving our own.
Next MOU is between Peace City World and Roland Code.
Just you and me. That guy.
Yes, please. Yeah, have a coffee.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, great big family. And the truth, you know love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares and their lives will be stronger and free.
As God has shown us by turning stone to bread.
Congratulations to Peace City World and Roland Code. The next MOU is between Peace City World and Kenobi, Mr. Mark Hintz.
We are the ones to make a brighter day, so let's start giving. Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
When you're down and out, and there seems no hope at all.
But if you just believe, there's nowhere we can fall.
Well, let's realize, oh, that a change can only come when we.
Just checking in the room if we have Mr. Panos Kakidze from Ultima Pro Group. Congratulations, Kenobi and Peace City World. Thank you very much. Next MOU is between Peace City World and Ultima Pro Group.
It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. All right, let me hear you. We are the world. That we are the children. Let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives.
Just checking if in the room we have Finskania, Mr. Carsten Mann. I guess no, I haven't seen him.
We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making.
Is Mr. Remy Oslislo in the room?
We make a better day, just you and me. Yeah, yeah. We are the world. We are the world. We are the children. We are the
I know Remy is with us, but he's probably not in the room now.
start giving. So let's start giving. There's a choice we'll make. Yeah, we're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
Is Francisco del Cid in the room? He's probably downstairs at the Bosquia stand. Congratulations, Ultima Pro Group. Is Mr. Divaldo Rezende in the room? No. Is Mr. Robin Lehman in the room? Is Mr. Pascal Sigrist in the room? Great. So next MOU is between Peace City World and Bow Concept General.
Narrador. Saliendo del narrador.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one.
Is Mr. Simon Ramshaw in the room? Great.
To lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make it brighter than day.
Congratulations.
There's a choice we're making. We're saying
Next MOU is between Peace City World and Erconia Lasers. Mr. Simon Ramshaw.
well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares and their lives will be stronger and free.
As God has shown us by turning stone to bread.
Is Mr. Paul McKinney in the room?
We are the world. We are the children.
We are the one to make a brighter day, so let's start giving.
Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
When you're down and out, and there seems no hope at all.
But if you just believe, there's nowhere we can fall.
Well, let's realize, oh, that a change can only come when we
Stand together as one.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. The next MOU is between Peace City World and CPIM. Mr. Paul McKinney, you are most welcome on stage. Is Mr. Raymond Souda in the room? Great.
It's too
Congratulations, PCT World and CPIM. Next MOU is between PCT World and Millennium Associates. Mr. Ray Suda. Can someone, Richard, would you please call front del seat? He's on the Boskia stand, I guess, or at the coffee break. Is Mr. Ismail Abedin Angelmo in the room? Congratulations, PCT World and Millennium Associates.
When we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one, there are people dying.
Next MOU is between PCT World and DXMID, Mr. Ismail Angelmo.
Greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day.
While they are signing, let me check if Mr. Horst Baumgartner is in the room.
We all a part of God's great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need.
Is Mr. Zizong in the room?
We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving.
Is Mr. Abdul Dima in the room?
We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day. Just you and
Great.
me.
Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares and their lives will be stronger and free.
As God has shown us by turning stone to bread.
And so we all must lend a hand.
Congratulations.
We are the children.
Next MOU is between PCT World and Pentribe,
So let's start
Pentribe International, Mr. Horst Baumgartner.
We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. When you're down and out, and there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, there's nowhere we can fall.
Well, learn and realize, oh, that a change can only
Congratulations. Next MOU between Peace City World and Smart Scoot IT Solutions. Mr. Abdul Dema. Is Mr. Zizong in the room? Obviously not. Is Mr. Pascal Sigrist in the room? Congratulations. Next MOU between Peace City World and Recyclium, Mr. Pascal Sigrist. Is Mr. Raul Valavazquez Gento in the room? Obviously not. No, sir. Congratulations. I think we signed enough MOUs for this morning and we deserve a coffee break. Yeah, thank you very much for your patience and see you downstairs. The room is in my tool.